Oh, I'm back in it. I'm pumped. I'm excited to continue these guys. It's gonna be good. It's good. I played Lego City Undercover. That's way too fun. Way too fun. I'm enjoying it. Wait. Okay, we got people fighting with air fryers. Okay, now hold on. Meet the string guinea. Nope. I want to go to my channel. I don't. Okay, my For You page is absolutely cooked. There we go. Now go here. Mute. Shut the Bavarian meats. I had you once. You were okay. I'll accept you, but I don't like your advertisements. They're not good. No, I can't read chat just yet because I gotta wait. Oh my goodness, I don't need a pin. I don't want my flag pin. I don't know what country they're frickin' representing. Am I right? Am I right, gentlemen? Howdy, Mossy. Howdy, C. Nisty. Welcome, welcome. Hold on that. Everyone, we are early. This is an early stream today. Make it prepare for trouble because I am double. Make it triple. Dang, we got triple trouble with two guys. This is crazy. This is almost unbelievable. Okay, now that's up and running there. I can move that up. There we go. Okay, back to painting. Back to painting. I did a gaming stream yesterday. It was I needed to play the game some more. I'm really enjoying the game. But now I'm excited because also what I was doing is I was procrastinating the next video because the next video is going to be a doozy because I'm going to be painting Mortarion. But I had a good rest and I was able to sleep on it, and now I'm excited to do Mortarion. I'm no longer dreading him. But to warm up for Mortarion, it's actually kind of perfect that we are in the middle of painting. Move out of the way. We're painting, oh my gosh, Terminators? Are these Blightlord Terminators? I don't remember what they're called. It's literally been so long since I bought these guys. But I need to, or I think they're Bodyguard. They're Death Guard Bodyguard. I don't remember, dude. Can Team Rocket be in the next video? Maybe so. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far ahead yet. That's a lot of planning for me. But I got to finish painting the horns on these guys, which is going to be a bit of a doozy. But we got them base coated, which is fine. And so, honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some crazy shenanigans to just get these guys done and dusted and as good as gold. Oh, I still have to finish up some trim. Also, when I bought new equipment, this is interesting. I bought a stream deck. So here's the stream deck, but over top of it came this little piece of paper. And, I mean, as you know, we are great planners. I do know you're great planners. And the paper came up here, and I'm wondering if that can be easily used as, you know, like a sheet on the wet palette. And so I'm gonna try it. So, you know, might not be the brightest thing to do, but it's like about the same size, so I'm gonna give it a whirl. Remember, if painting isn't yours anymore, don't try politics. Fair. That is fair. Now let's see how let's see how this works, dude. This is gonna be weird. The paper's already very clingy, and I'm wondering if this is like aiming right through. No, it. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I need to pull out a specific stop. I gotta pull out a flat edge here to really get this thing going. You know, this isn't a designated painter's. I also have air conditioning on me, so this, you know, it's not particularly in our favor. However, we don't need it to be in our favor. We will make the results good ourselves because we're that good. Oh, please work with me here. There we go. Off to a good start. Good start, good start. Now we can smooth it all out. Just like that. See? It's perfect. Am I actually painting this stream? That is the plan. Is the Death Guard called the Death Guard because the guard, the death? I think so. I still need to get properly acquainted with the lore. Okay, we're gonna see what the heck happens here, but I'm gonna roll with it. What kind of paper is that? You know how on like electronics, when you open up new electronics, there'll be a thin piece of paper over top of it? Yeah, well, when I got my Stream Deck here, this paper was on top of it. So it is not designed at all for the use as a wet palette, but that's not going to stop me from trying to use it as a wet palette. We're all about experimenting here at the Sherlock Spiner channel, and whether or not that leads to good conclusions or, you know, further proving how smart I am, not dumb, smart, I don't know. It doesn't help me trying to buy some to make a wet palette. Oh, you just need, I think, any baking paper. I think. There was some, when I bought the wet palette, it came with a whole bunch of paper that's lasted me forever. Okay, this is all very wet. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna see this through to the to the bitter end. Now let's get a little tan earth going, and we'll get right on to. Oh my gosh, that went a specific way. Now usually it beads up, but this is kind of that didn't bead up. We're gonna. Am I going to buy a Steam Deck every time you need new paper? Probably. All the baking paper I use is hydrophobic. I think that's what you want. Unless it's not. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna. I'm gonna see how this whole thing works. Clearly. Well, thank you. No, that's good. Nothing but confidence, okay? Nothing but confidence, because this is about to be insanely cool. We're about to learn something. We're about to learn that you can use Steam Deck paper on Plague Marines. And this needs to be thinned down anyway, which, okay, that might be slightly more thinned down than this is exactly what I want it to be, and this is perfect, because I wouldn't want it to be any other way. So, you know, without further ado, we'll start a bit of the blending process on some of these horns here. And I say the blending process, I mean, you know, it's kind of a blending process, you know? It's a little something. It's quick and easy is what it ultimately is. But it's, you know, the paint is a little thin. I gotta be real with you. It's a little on the thinner side, which isn't usually the case when I use paper that's meant for this, but that doesn't matter. Does not matter. Does that mean I can do this and then actually blend it all in? Oh, kind of. Okay, this might not be a bad thing. This might be good for our blending skills, because that's what we're all about here, dude. For real. You know, yeah, I sense no further issues. If the water starts changing a different color, then I'll panic. Is your paper watching the stream right now? If so, boo water. What? What? You would EVA? What is an EVA or an EVA? Isn't that like an IOU? Isn't that some legal loophole here in the US? I don't even remember, dude. Color me confused. Now, usually I take an actual solid color rather than just the watered down on the edges here, but, you know, we have to improvise because we're not doing the traditional way. We're built different. We're built a little different here. Now, okay. That's brown. I'm gonna brown, to quote Soldier. What? Evangelion? I like how that translated. The YouTube translate made it say, does it have jelly on it? What? Thanks, translate. You're really, you're really doing the Lord's work with your AI translations. Keep up the good work. For the love of AI, my gosh. Okay, the bottom here, there we go. And it was, and Mortarian's gonna be probably one of my more intense models I've ever done. But I'm gonna try to, I just gotta start him. I've had him for well over a year. And I bought him way before I did the big spend of 26, as I'm referring it. The big spend of 25, actually. That was Mortarion was before that, and that was like last July when I did the big spend, where I dropped $700 of copium money onto Warhammer. Haven't purchased any Warhammer since then, thankfully. So at least I'm good at saying, okay, you have a problem, stop. But the pile of shame is slowly dwindling down, and that's good because I want more tanks. I want to buy tanks now, and I want to shoot the tanks with shotguns, like I've done in a previous video. Also, I think what I'm going to do, and I'll announce this in future videos, because a lot of people have been saying to shoot a Warlord Titan. I think this is fair. If I hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I will print, paint, and shoot a Warlord Titan, which I think is a fair goal, one could say. So we'll see. But I'll make that I'll make an official statement in the next YouTube video. That way my presence is known. And that will, that'll show whoever. A whole nother one? Yeah, I will do a whole nother Warlord Titan. I'm not gonna freaking do like a Warhound or a Reaver. I thought 5K was Frank Honey cosplay. Is that what I said? I don't remember what I said last minute. I think it was something about a Warlord Titan. Okay, then I'll shoot the Warlord Titan in a Frank Honey suit. I'll if someone can, I need help with this though. I need to somehow. People are making Lego pieces or Lego hair pieces out of 3D prints. If we can get whatever hair Frank Honey has on a 3D printer, and then we'll do it. Shot it dressed as Frank Honey. OMG, called it. Great minds think alike and fools never differ, as they say. You know? You did call it. We're on the same wavelength. We got Albert and Einstein over here. It's perfect. I foresee no issues. That would be not. I think all I have to do is get a generic Lego Man head from like, and that's by the end of the year. So there will reinstart. Yeah. So by the end of the year is when the goal is. So it would probably happen at like January or December if we hit it earlier. So I think it'll work out. I'll go to the nearest Spirit Halloween and they're bound to sell a Lego face mask. And so I'll just do that. I'll buy that. I'll get whatever suit Frank Honey wears. What suit does Frank Honey wear? Hold on, I have an actual channel where okay, so hold on. If we take a look real quick at Frank Honey. I should not be able to pull this up this quickly, but I did. Okay, so he's just in a suit, got a blue tie, he's got a badge, got a button up. And I'm being print one of the shoulder pads with the bamboo. What goal to burn a French flag? I don't know if I could go so far as to burn a French flag. If there was a flag I would burn, it would probably be the French flag. But I don't know if I could do that just yet. But here's Frank Honey. So I got to get a hairstyle like that. So I got to get an orange-brown color. He's got a very generic face. This is fine. And he's just got a basic suit. Which, now is that a green color? Or is that just a deep blue? Because I might have that already. And so he's probably just wearing a standard uniform. He's not in a trench coat or anything. I would have to get yellow. I should try to shoot a gun with the Lego hands. That would be a massive safety violation of something, dude. That's orange. Okay, this is just basic orange. Yeah, orange or an orange brown. I have an orange brown there. Yeah, black. Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's a fairly easy thing to do. It's fairly straightforward. I'll probably have to get a bald cap so my actual hair isn't poking out of it. So, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out the whole thing. It'll all work out A-okay. Now I don't even know what's happening. This is just a random stick, so I'm just going to go around and hit, like, high points and stuff. So, yeah, we'll shoot a Warlord Titan do Yellowface. You don't got to tell me twice. But, yeah, we'll just... Blue, gold ship. Gold ship. You mentioned gold ship. Cool. Good job. Speaking of gold ship, I just got my first S rank and S plus rank in the game, and so I'm really stoked because that means I'm actually doing something right. So for You know, for anyone who knows what I'm talking about, which will be probably nobody, yeah, I did it. I built up a good legacy loop, and I got TM Opera O to S plus rank. After a bunch of A's and a couple B's, I eventually locked in and did it. So is there anything I can do to help my plans to annex Canada? I could have sworn I said I was going to leave the annexing up to literally anyone else. I don't think I wouldn't be the best guy to do that, because all I would do is it wouldn't really be annexing Canada. It would kind of just be annexing the United States to all become basically the kingdom of Tim Hortons. So, yeah. Oh, there's my legal advice button. Well, I can do a metal pipe. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. Look, I don't remember what happened 2 minutes ago. I think we were talking about Whataburger or something, bro. You got to give me Fallout style. Okay. Wait, no, we talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 yesterday. We said that someone said that the Lego game was basically Red Dead Redemption 2, right? Or am I nuts? Also, I'm having fun with this now. This is crazy. Can you be the American Luxembourg ambassador? The Luxembourg, I've heard the name before. Heard the name. I would need to look it up before I say yes or no to that, because if it's what I'm thinking it reminds me of, then if I say yes, I'm doomed. And it would be due to my lack of knowledge. Isn't Luxembourg? I would have to look it up. But I gotta paint. I haven't painted this brass. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Hold on. Let me do some random lines real quick. Average. Ooh, okay. That's fun. You said at 15K subs, I would launch a military campaign to free Canada from the French language. I said that? That's crazy, dude. That is actually nuts. What I can do... I don't know if I can do any... Here. Look, I'm not a fan of French as much as the next guy, but for different reasons. You don't like them because... Why don't you like the French? Hold on. I don't know how I haven't asked this in the literal weeks. Almost every stream the French is mentioned and the French is dogged on. What are the origins? Why don't you guys like the French? I would be very curious and grateful if you could tell me and bring me up to speed with why you don't like them. Subhuman trash. Okay, that was Mossy Mint's words, not mine. Although I'm in a similar boat. Because I have my own personal reasons on why I deeply dislike them. And we will get into some historical stuff. They oppressed the English for like 200 years, and Sinistí is German. Fair. Okay, that is very fair. That's very fair. Want to know why? I want to know why I don't like them? Do you want my honest answer to why I personally don't care for the French? Do you want a Sherlock Spiner hot take? Even though it's not even a hot take, they speak French. Forced us to speak their language. Anyone forced to speak French. Okay, I can understand why you wouldn't like them after being forced to sing Mademoiselle. I'm also German, and they ruined revolutions. Fair enough. Fair enough. Very interesting. Very interesting. So, you know, if you've heard anything from me, which you might have heard me a couple times, being that I'm streaming a couple times every now and again when I feel like it, aka 4 times a week. They killed a far relative of mine. One of my far relatives probably killed a far relative of yours as well. He fought on the wrong side of the war. That war. But, you know, to each their own. No, why I don't like the French is because a little something happened years ago, before I was born, before even my unk ass was born, okay? Little dude named Gavrilo Princip came about, and he tried to bomb an archduke and failed miserably. But then the archduke's driver got turned around because the archduke's driver was probably also inbred. And so the guy said, "Oh, wow, this is convenient," and he shot him. And then a little thing called the Great War happened. Pretty nuts, pretty crazy experience from what I've been able to garner from sources, from trusted sources. But the French fought in that war, and they fought They started off the war not going Feldgrau or khaki-colored uniforms like the British and the Germans, but what they did was a little something different. They fought in a royal blue and red and blood red and crimson red uniform at the beginning of the war. Now, that was an interesting move on their part and kind of silly because the British were going with khaki. The Germans were going with their famous field gray or Feldgrau. And the French didn't. Hell no Nazis, girl. I'll catch up on the chat in just a second because it looks like there's shenanigans happening in there. So just give me a second. But the French went into the First World War with a rifle. And this rifle would be known as, I believe, the Lebel 1886. 1886, okay? Great War started 1914. They're going in with 1886 rifle, okay? Now, the Germans had the Gewehr 98. I'll give you 5 guesses as to what 98 meant. Correct. 1898. Okay. Still a fairly old rifle, but with how fast these things improved or didn't improve, that's okay. And the British came in with one of their greatest the greatest rifle of all time, the Lee Enfield Mark III. Now, this was not the Lee Enfield Mark III Star. The Lee Enfield Mark III Star would come after 1916, a little after the Somme, which, like Lee Enfield Mark IIIs, before they were brought in for modifications, they all had a feed ramp elevator blocker thing. So basically, so the Lee Enfield's magazine fed, you pull the bolt back, you send out a piece of brass, you push it forward, and you push another case in. Well, they had a little lever system that you would push in. It basically slid out like this. So picture your cartridges are right here. You had a little elevator blocker that you would simply push in, and it would stop the rounds from coming up. So what you would do is you would place a round just on that elevator, close your bolt, fire, eject it, and then hand place another round. That was made, they were still thinking this was the Boer War, and it's company line up, load, aim, fire. They didn't know that it was just going to be just fire all your rounds quickly and then reload with a bunch of stripper clips. They didn't realize that just yet until after 1916 when they did away with that. They also did away with the volley sights on the stock of the gun, which rests right here in your pocket. Essentially what they had was another little sight, like you have your traditional iron sights. They had another sight here that was ranged for, you would aim this between here and your front sight, and that would zero you to like 1,000 yards, which, there wasn't a lot of 1,000-yard stuff happening in the Great War when you have trenches that could be as close as 15 meters away from each other. So anyways, that's what the British had going into World War I. And also, the Martini Henry was used in the Boer War, which was like 1880. It was 1880 something? Wait, no. 1879. 1879 is when the Zulu movie takes place. So it was like the 79. That's when they had the Martini Henry. 79. 7 years later, the French would come up with their Lebel. And during their just keeping the Lebel, the British made the Lee Enfield, and then the Mark I, and then the Mark I Long, and then the Mark II, and then, or not the Mark II. The Mark II was a trainer rifle. But they did a bajillion different Lee Enfield things, and the French just kept their Lebel, and the Germans were being German and making like MP-18s or whatever the heck, although I guess that was later in the war, but anywho. But the French went into the war, and you know what they said? They said, hey, who cares about our old armory, dude? We're going to get them with our French spirit. So there's a point docked off of France right then and there. That I don't like that. What gun did they use in the Zulu war film? They used the Martini Henry. But if you look closely at some of the background characters, they didn't have enough surplus Martini Henrys. You will see guys running around with Lee Enfield Mark #1 Mark IVs and Mark IIIs and Mark III stars, which is the funniest thing. But they hit it pretty well, so you don't really see it. But they use the Martini Henry, which is like my main sniper I use in Battlefield 1. And they also make a Martini Henry-based 12-gauge shotgun, which I do want to buy at some point, because that would be awesome. Sorry, repeat, you got an ad? In the Zulu War movie, they used Martini Henrys. But if you look closely at some of the background characters when they're doing mass wave assaults, some of the guys are carrying Lee Enfields, and they're carrying Mark IIIs and #1 Mark IVs. And it's funny because, you know, they were obviously told, hey, just like shoot, and don't use the bolt because that doesn't exist yet. But you see some guys running, they're using the Martini Henry, but then you just see some guys doing in the Boer War, running around, kneeling down, shooting, and then cycling their bolt action rifles. They're from the future. They're time travelers. So, you know, the movie proved that time travel existed. But the French said, hey, we're just going to kick their butt with our good fighting spirit and our old guns. And I said, wow, is what I said when I, you know, learned about that. And then I said, that is so, to put it lightly, that's stupid. That is silly goose type shenanigans that you're doing, Mr. Franceman. And then 1916 happened, or 1915. It was relative. It was like kind of early to mid-war. The French are like, we need a new uniform. They said, okay, everyone, they put their heads together. Okay, they put all their extra chromosomes together, and they said, okay, the dark blue, dark red uniforms aren't cutting it anymore. We need to do something different. And they said, great idea. We totally need to. What should we do? And some genius, by French standards, with only 5 extra Y chromosomes, or whatever the heck a chromosome is, okay? He said, guys, I have a genius idea. How about we do a bright blue uniform, the same color as the sky? That way, when people are checking the horizon, they can't see us because of our horizon blue uniforms. The French are kind of stupid. And so they changed their uniforms up, and they're like, okay, we are now going to go in with light blue uniforms and old guns. In their defense, they had the Shao Shou. But also, not in their defense, they had the Shao Shou. The British had the Lewis gun, one of the greatest machine guns ever, one of the best light portable man machine guns just ever, period. And I mean, I'll die on that hill absolutely forever. It was an absolute banger of a rifle. Now, it was a Lewis. Now, it's an American and British firearm. It was made by some Lewis guy, some Lewis from America, actually. So you know, we gotta sneak America in there to give America a little bit of the credit. Okay, I gotta do that as part of you know my citizenship here in America. But you know, but it was the British who used it. Good for them. Also, the Americans come over in the First World War, and you know how, and they get put under French supervision. Big mistake. And you know what the British did, or you know what the French did? They said, here's what the Triple Entente did. The bunch of freaking goofballs. They said, yo, American troops, you have the Browning automatic rifle now. Those aren't going to get here in time, even though that is objectively a great rifle, and we're going to use it in the Second World War, but we can't spoil that. We're going to give the American troops, who are natural marksmen because they're just American, that's just part of their beginning stat cards, we're going to give you Shao Shou rifles. We're not even going to give you Lewis guns designed by yours truly. We're going to give you Shao Shous. Now, if you put me in the First World War and you said, would you rather have a Shao Shou or just a stock Lee Enfield or Lebel or Gewehr 98? I would say, okay, give me a Shao Shou. But I mean, when you have access to Lewis guns, what are we thinking here? Why are we going to give them the Shao Shou, for the love of Shao Shou? Also, some people do say, let me put this out there, okay, because I did learn this. Some people say that the Browning automatic rifle, or the BAR, didn't see combat in the First World War. It did, but it was like the final weeks of the First World War. In some historical readings I was doing, the final hour of the First World War, right? Like, they blow the whistle, and it's like, okay, the war's over, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, okay? Everyone celebrate. There was an American rifleman manning a Browning automatic rifle who was storming German lines even right at 11 o'clock. He was still storming the lines. And he was shooting at the Germans still. He said, I just got here. I want to kill someone. maybe a bit of a psychopath, but, you know, to each their own. Nowadays, he's regarded as a brave American soldier. And the Germans were waving at him like, brother, the war's over, El Bozo. But he kept shooting at them, so they eventually just had to, you know, kill him because he was being stupid. He was being a classic firepower gun nut American, which, you know, there's the stereotype for you, right? And so they shot him. But BARs did make contact, albeit briefly and kind of illegally, with in the First World War. But back to the stupid French. I mean, back to the brave French people who fought to defend their country. Should have lost it. But yeah, they used the label. And if you've seen how a label is loaded, you don't know, you think it looks French. It looks very French. That's how it loads. You load it and you look at it and you go, that's not right. That shouldn't exist. And then you go, par for the course is what you say there. Compare that to the Lee Enfield Mark III Star. I mean, that rifle, if someone was smart, and this is a rather morbid thing. Is that the banana-looking one? That's the Xiao Shou. Yep, that's the Xiao Shou with the banana-looking shenanigans there. But if someone was smart, after, you know, artillery bombarded your platoon in the good old British Army, okay, and you're collecting your best friend's dog tags or whatever. What you could also do, because he's not using his rifle. Now, I think they salvaged the rifles, but if you were sneaky enough, or maybe you're on the attack, maybe you're pushed ground. What you do, you take his magazine from his Lee Enfield, and literally you can do mag changes with a Lee Enfield, dude. That's how good the Lee Enfield is. Now, you were expressly told not to take your magazine out unless you were cleaning it, probably because they didn't have enough, well, obviously they didn't have enough magazines to warrant, like, hey, let's change out our magazines. It's no, that stays in, and then you load with stripper clips. Also a very good way to do it, as I've done it before. Oh, I realized I didn't showcase how to load with stripper clips in my official video. I might have to do that next time. I did do it, but it was like a 5-minute thing and the camera angle was wrong. But you could salvage from your best friend his magazine, and you could become a bit of a fighter and a bit of a warrior on the field, just absolutely mag dumping with a bolt-action Lee Enfield because it was objectively the greatest rifle. Now, I can't attest to the Gewehr 98. There was one for a very good price and a very good conditioning that I saw a couple weeks ago. However, I backed out of that. I should have just bit the bullet and purchased it. I don't know why I didn't, and I apologize. But I want to get one at some point. That way I can actually see and experience the main different rifle of the First World War, being the Gewehr 98. If you die fighting with you in our attempt to annex Canada, you can take my mag. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, good sir. How generous of you, even. But also at the time, they didn't have dump pouches, probably. Well, they probably had spare pouches for whatever. But, you know, who knows? Who knows what the British were really up to there? You know, movies and journals will only take you so far. Although in cocaine rations, I expect we will get maybe it might be yeah, we'll probably be cocaine with with what's happening around me. Cocaine would probably be the best answer. We'd have to fly our German out, and hopefully he has some Panzer Chocolate or whatever that he could give a. Ha! I say that, and there he goes. He says it. Lamau. Called it. Great minds think alike, and fools never differ, as they say. But, you know, it's an ultimate strategy. So there's my rant on French guns, which, you know, they're silly. They're silly little gooses, although British isn't innocent either. I won't say Britannia is innocent. And then I just honestly just the way the whole thing happened was very silly, bro. Did bro just say Lamau? I might have cocaine will be the best option. I'm going to go with meth because it did good in the early stages of a different war that I won't go into just yet. It's a very niche one. We have never done anything wrong. Whatever you say, pal. Whatever you say, hey, I won't forget the Lusitania. Yeah. You might say, what the hell are you on about the Lusitania? Oh, yeah, no, I know the truth about that. I know what you did. I know what you cheeky British bastards did. You ain't fooling me, Brit. Let's see, now that's good. Now we just got to do some lines here. There we go. Also, I think the paper here, is now fully seeped into the actual sponge. So I'm going to clean this and we're going to see what actually happened. So stand by. You know, you thought the Zimmerman telegram was bad? Nope. Nope. The Zimmerman telegram, cakewalk. Cakewalk. What do I think of Rhodesia? I think they had a camouflage pattern that's very controversial to wear, but a guy at my local gun range wears it all the time unironically, and he's like 6'9", and he Brit stealing everything like the Necrons collector. There you go. But you know, there's a guy at my gun range who does that. So there's a. As far as my thoughts on it, I haven't researched enough into it because I could give a crap about literally anything else aside from World War I historical history. And I dabble in World War II. I'm not a World War II knowledge bear. Just World War I for me, personally. Now let's see what the heck happened over here. This is all ripping up like it's a scab, by the way. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we kind of bled into the... So maybe this paper isn't... We're learning. We're learning that's not the way to go. Thankfully, that's moist, and I'll have to clean it right after the stream, but let me get an actual... One of the only countries named after a Persian. Cecile Rhodes. Is that the case? I did not know that. Let me pull out another piece of paper here. I did not... I thought, thought America was named after Christopher America Columbus, or am I wrong in that? I could be wrong, which I would, you know, I'll take that on the cheek if I'm wrong about that. I don't quite remember. But, you know, to each their own. But, okay, now we got some new paper on. What about Epstein Island? Is that its own country? I mean, with all the wacky stuff they did there, you would think that there were only rules that could be of a random country. So, yeah, you might not be far off. Not exactly a country. That we know of. Whoa. And then you turn it, and now it's all wrinkly. That is crazy. But that's also cool. That's also fun. But close? Yeah, I guess so. I wouldn't know too much about it. Now, if you want my... Wait, what's this do? Oh, that's the taco... It literally... Oh my god, I'm a different breed. Because, yeah. Literally, that's the Taco Bell logo right there, and I'm like, what's this button do? That does the Taco Bell sound. Who would have thought? I never would have expected that. Also, let's see. I need to paint... Oh, yeah, I gotta paint that, the black-brown. I missed part of the area, so hold on. Let me fix it real quick. Let me fix it. We'll get where we need to go. Put a little black paint down there. Sherlock, on Saturday, I want to play TF2. We'll see what Saturday holds. I have to stream. I have... you can't hear the gong? That's crazy. Why can't you hear the gong? Oh. There it is. Am I doing it? Yeah. I think it's coming up as extremely quiet. I don't know. Do you hear it? I also completely blanked out because of the Taco Bell dong, so please excuse me. If you can't hear it, then because yeah, when earlier I was doing something with maybe make a button for full cam, face cam, so you can quickly switch away if something ban-worthy happens. That's what this is right here. I do have one. I have that. I have the painting button, and I have the monitor, which we still have. We can hear it? Okay, fair enough. So we still have... So this guy's just up on the screen. So just so you know, while I'm painting, up on the screen right there is right there. And then I have console gaming, which is just this, but upside down for some reason. Oh my god, I have a button that mutes and unmutes the desk. Okay. Okay. Dang it, James, go with it. Are you doing something ban-worthy? Life-size Lego hands, Lego cosplay. Hold on, let me go to the monitor real quick. Hold on. Nope, don't go there. Go back to the webcam for just a second. Hold on. Hold the phone. I gotta pull up different. Then I gotta put you over there. There we go. There we go. Everyone stand by. We're going on a... You didn't hear the gong. Bit late. I don't know if I did anything. I think I imagined it. We can hear it. Damn it. Nope. Are you doing it? We can hear it. Damn it. Go with it. Oh, I think... Oh, I see what you're doing. You're scheming. Okay, so what was I privy to here? Oh, an actual life-size Lego hands for Lego cosplay. And there's no finger holes in that. That is perfect. I am going to handle a gun like that. That is actually the greatest thing ever. I'm going to need my brother to be my cameraman. Look at that size. Jeez Louise, dude. Hold on. Oh, God, please do yellow face. So I could 3D print these, or I could... Can't you buy them? Hold on. Hold on. We're doing yellow... Hold on. Lego hands. Can't you buy Lego hands? Yeah, from Amazon.com. Look at the... But how will I pull the trigger? Faith. No, actually, you know what I'll do? Is I'll have to use a 1911. I'll have to balance the 1911. And then what I'll have to do is I'm just going to have to bash the back of the hammer in with my Lego hands, and that will send it forward. Because fun fact, if you drop a 1911 if you just drop a 1911 and it hits, and like the barrel hits concrete, it will fire. It will fire. Most of the time. Glocks won't do it, but 1911s have an external hammer. But so, and the inside firing pin is on a spring. So if you face the whole thing down and it hits concrete, like if you drop it, there's a good chance that it could go off. But it has to be a perfect hit on a concrete floor to really get that thing to go off. Glocks won't do that, which is why I recommend the Glock to anyone, but I use a 1911 because I have class. We are not the same. Now, let's see. So for $25, 25 hard-earned dollars, I can get whatever this is. This looks like something out of a horror movie, if I'm being dead honest. This is America, Lego City. Yeah. Make a hole and have a painted finger. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Lego cowgirl mask, one size. Disguise men's Emmett. Hold on. Okay, let me see if we got a Lego face. I'm peace. Please do yellow face. Your typing is something. Child building Blockman costume. Let me see the child building block. What the? What on God's green earth is this, dude? What is this? What is that, dude? And I kind of feel like this is what I should get, and then I should just get an orange wig. Lego face is printable. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, can we just take a moment to just appreciate the absolute horror that LLL clan, dude, it actually is. Holy crap. I have to do yellow face. They hate all Lego friends. They do it. Okay, yeah. Freaking hold on. Okay, now we were on Thingiverse. Okay, hold on. Let me go to... Exit out of here. Why can't I click? For the love of click, let me click something. Do I have to... What do they want me to do? Oh, there's an X right up here. Gosh, I have never used Thingiverse ever. Hold on. Lego head. Working Lego Shrek head. Okay, maybe I should have... Maybe... Okay, maybe I should have done a little something. Do we do, costume? Sherlock, please do yellow face. Looks like you're... Low poly mask. We can be Squid Game. Ziploc bags. Fursuit? What is this? Oh my god, it's like I'm looking at a Five Nights at Freddy's, like, game. Oh my god. I literally just did Lego head. Why are we giving me fursuit shit? This is horrifying, dude. Oh my gosh. Unironically, that's spooking me. Jeez Louise. Okay, Lego head cosplay. Let's see if we do it. That's just hands. Life-size Lego head helmet. Plague mask. What is happening, dude? Hold on. Okay, so we can print that. It comes with eye holes, and then we just have to paint it. Oh, it comes with. Oh my gosh! So I could get what's his name? We could get our boy. Freaking hold on. I gotta get out of here before you. So we can get Frank Honey's head, and we can just simply. I'd be able to work through that. Also, what is that? Why do we have just a Lego girl head and playing a cello? Is that a cello or is that an electric guitar? I don't know. I'm not completely sure. That's spooky. Okay, so yeah, we would just have to do a ton of sanding and apply like some gloss paint. That's easy. Some gloss yellow paint. Easy dubs. Easy. It's possible. We'll see what happens. But until then, I should probably actually paint now. That's the channel, by the way. This is the painting channel. By the way, I kind of jump scared myself with a big old freaking Frank Honey right there. That is the funniest stuff. Now, back to base coating this guy. We've gotten tons of requests to do yellow face from the esteemed chat, the very famous Never Wrong chat. They're pretty famous. They're famous for being always correct and never wrong. Isn't that right, guys? Guys. Alrighty then, fair enough. They speak when they need to. They speak when it is required of them. That's what they're a council, if you would, a council of wise chats. Right, guys? Fair enough. Okay. Alrighty then. Whatever you say. Wait, what color do I do? I just do various. The Indians. Oh, Bazinga. Yeah, Bazinga translates to the Indians, so I don't know what language they're translating Bazinga from. So I'm not sure what Sheldon Cooper is talking about on that whole thing. It's a little not quite sure what he's doing there. But it's a little spooky either way. Let me get back into frame real quick before I absolutely annihilate the frame. There we go. It's looking fine. No, but what I was saying about the Saturday stream, now I'm hoping I will be able to stream Saturday. However, I have family in town. That's why I have to do this. I got to do this stream early because I'll be leaving later to go visit them. And it's a long plane ride, and I'm going to have to try to make that work and get back for streaming on Thursday. But I think I'll be able to do it. Bazinga translated to the blacks last time. So ba is the, and then zing is Indians or black. So someone sees them as the same thing. Someone on the YouTube Translate front sees them as the same thing. Now that's on YouTube. That's not me. That's YouTube. Just so we're abundantly clear. Too slow. Oh, sorry. Hold on. My notification popped up on my phone, and then I just read it out loud. I don't need to do that, especially when I got two connivers who are scheming on me here. All right, there. Now that's base coated. What else needs base coating? Nothing else needs base coat. Now we're... Did I really completely miss one? Yes, I did. Okay. Well, everywhere you go, there you are. We got to get one of the horns right here. And right there. Bada bing, bada boom. I enjoy doing shrooms. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now we can also... I broke off a scythe. That's because I just threw all these guys into a tote one day, which is unfortunate, but, we'll be able to recover from that eventually. Eventually. All in time. Now that's base coated. Let me pull out the tan earth again. Oh, my bad. Let me get the actual microphone back to me this time. Whoops. Audio should hopefully be a lot better. Golly. Put you down there, and then we can do some crazy blending shenanigans. Let's do it. Let us away, as Flane would say. No one will understand that reference. No one will be able to find it. But that's what makes it all the better. That's what makes it more elite ball and knowledge. Now, for wood grain. Now I'm just doing some wood grain. You gotta go soon? Fair enough. Well, hey, you made it. You went a pretty decent time. Yeah, you didn't just tune in to say hi and bye. No, so I think we can color your stream still very viable. And also, what time is it for you guys? If you don't mind me prying into your personal lives, is this a decent hour for you guys? Because I hear that you have to be up at like midnight or 1 in the morning usually by when I'm streaming, but it looks like this is a lot better. This might be better for you guys. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. 6:50 p.m. 1950 right now. Fair enough. 7:50. Fair enough. Very interesting. So it's like evening or starting to become evening. That's interesting. I didn't know that's what happened over in your neck of the woods. That is interesting. It's not that time here. My computer, because this computer was set up back in my Los Angeles times. That's why I go off of Los Angeles time, even though I'm here in Wichita, Kansas City. The exact location can be found, or well, can't be found in the Discord anymore. Mossy deleted it after he found and doxed me in the Discord. But you know, that was a different time. It was a different time. He's getting very good at GeoGuessr. Just ask me for it. Yeah, just ask him for it, and he'll give you the screenshot of my workshop in just alone in a random field. It's pretty crazy. It's, you know, it's an interest. Were you dead on? Yeah, that's what was so scary. Like for real. Oh, like not even me doing a bit. The thing is, there comes a time in every place where a driver has to make that one key decision. Risk it all, or play it safe and lose, or risk it all. Or no. Risk it all and win, or play it safe and suffer defeat. To quote, oh my God, what's his name? Oh my God, what is his name, dude? I'm not going to look it up. If anyone here knows it, tell me. Who was the bad guy, the evil racer from Turbo, the movie about the snail? Oh, wait, was it Guy Gagné? Was that it? Hold on, I think it was Guy Gagné. If I pulled that out of my ass, that is going to be the craziest freaking pull ever. I am going to look that up. Was it Guy Gagné? Don't know how to spell it. Let me double... Frank Honey, howdy, how you doing? Hold on. Now, was it Guy... Oh, okay, it was Guy, but I think it was pronounced Guy. But I was right. Nailed it, by the way. I pulled that out of nowhere. I pulled that out of nowhere. There he is. I just pulled that out of nowhere. I am an insane referencer. That is crazy, dude. Absolutely insane. No, I don't think I should spread Sherlock's address. You could. It's fine. You haven't found the exact address. You just have my location on a photo. That's not my address. Go back to painting. There we go. Very different things, both of those. Although he live in 67226. Yeah, 67. For fan mail. For fan mail, I'm gonna have to make a different PO box for fan mail. I also don't think we're at a point. Was that really your workshop? Did you see any other workshop, my friend? You can find the picture again and throw it up in the Discord, and we can all figure out once and for all if that is my workshop. Now, before I continue, before I finish the brass details, I'm gonna start on. I'm gonna do the final bit of highlighting with deck tan. Because you know how I have to. Because right at 4 o'clock, or I guess it would be 7 o'clock here in Wichita. Just yes or no? I don't. Who's really aware of these things is what I have to say. I gotta keep it mysterious. No, but yeah, the reason I have to go on the hour is because I just go out my workshop and I walk across the field there, and then I go about my business. Take care of the horses. Allegedly. Is that true? I don't know. Yes or no. So it is. I can't say for sure. It's a mystery. That's part of the mystery. A mystery that would probably be very, very easily revealed with a powerful magic. Around. What is around? Oh. OMW, or on my way. Which is an interesting British term. Very interesting how the Brits say that. They say on my way. OMW. I always thought that was fascinating. Now, Americans say it as well. but I want to specifically point out the Brits saying it just because it's interesting. And because it kind of makes no sense and doesn't add anything to any further topic. Why are you giving me this stream? Error. Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not being sent often enough, which can cause buffering. It'll work itself out. I have faith in it. You know, that's all you can do, right? Now, the final bit of highlights here. This is fun. I'm actually enjoying this. Base coding, kind of annoying. Gonna be real. It's a bit of a turnoff, to quote Bret Michaels. But doing this quick and easy blending stuff, fun. Makes me happy, makes me giddy. Fills me with joy. Because this is fun to do. Also, I'm still so stoked that I was able to keep this incredibly painted head that I did years ago. Never been able to recreate it. But I was able to salvage that with some silly putty for masking. So that was kind of epic. Pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. And now let us highlight the rest of this stuff real quick. Real quick. Make it look nice and good. Get that little top piece right there. But 67226 is really close to my area code. That might not even have been the area code I announced or put out there. I don't know. It's all very mysterious. That's what you got to realize. It's a no. There's nothing set in stone here. But you know what is set in stone? The like and subscribe button. This is why I don't have guns in the workshop. Let's see. We're almost done with this guy, and then we can kind of move on from his horns to some fun details that we have happening and going on. It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see how it looks. So there's all that. Now I have like this random thing here. So I'm gonna try to just make like lines on it, very quick and easy lines, dude. Not even gonna mess around with it. That's not too bad. It's not terrible. Kind of hitting high points, kind of just want to keep lines going. Make it look very weird, very just sick and twisted almost, so to speak. There. And that's looking fairly decent. And I'm not using a very fine brush for this. But there we go. Not too bad. Not bad for wood. And once there's a wash on it, that kind of helps blend everything together, so it'll look even more spectacular than before. Now, to line the handle here real quick. Just do some fine stuff in there. We're gonna do some fine brushwork, and we're gonna practice some fine motion. Anywho, after that, after niche reference after niche reference, my God, I gotta slow the hell down, bro. Also, I've discovered placing Easter eggs in my YouTube videos, and so now if you look especially careful, and you'll never see it, because you didn't hand place it there like me. But I do now have scattered, barely visible references in my videos because it's so easy to do and it's so fun. So that was at least the Guns and Warhammer. So that was the most recent one. I might have put some other ones in previous videos, but Guns and Warhammer I really discovered that, and I'm like, oh, that's fun. I'm gonna keep doing that because that's enjoyable. And then if anyone finds it, they'll win something, maybe. Who knows? I should probably start making money from this first before I start handing out prizes. Now that guy's all horned up there. Looking all nice and good, if I do say so myself. Now to continue on this guy. Oh, well, here I have to... Well, hold on. Let me clean my brush right quick, because I actually got to do the first rounds of highlights on his staff real quick with the tan earth color here. There we go. Right there. So now I'm just going to work some fine brush strokes to start making a quick wood pattern. I'm not going to go too nuts because I'm really not good at wood patterns, but something quick and something easy. And thankfully they're sculpts. This wood is fairly easy to do. I just kind of aim for higher points. What kind of Easter eggs? Who knows? If I say like a sleeper agent activation line, like fine motion. Actually, there's the hint. Fine motion. I say that in the video, and that's a reference to something, and so I include the faintest reference of that in the video. And so if you look especially closely, you'll see that it's almost like my hands have eyes. And it's kind of creepy when you look at it. But it's like you see eyes when fine motion is mentioned. And it's weird. It's crazy. Kind of spooky. Borderline spooky. Borderline spooky. But, you know, and whoever finds it, good for them. Good for them. But that's literally a 1 in a million chance, and I don't get millions of views. So that's why it's like buried. LSD, essentially, something like that. Essentially, that's what it's gonna feel like. If you see that. If someone sees it out of the corner of their eye, they'll go, what happened there? And they'll be confused for the rest of time, and they're not going to be sure if they even saw it. That's another point, is you know, make people think they have the phrenia, if you would, which I believe is what the cool kids call the schizo hamster. Anyone know the schizo hamster? The take your meds schizo hamster? Hopefully, maybe not, just me. Who knows? I would hope not. Hold on. I'm getting a little more grain done, and then we're going to be done with this tan color. There we go. Very nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. And I'll go a little deeper there. Perfect. Now I can begin blending on this fine chap. Let's see. So now, here's where it gets fun. I'm going to try to get a decent angle, but I just, the brush is very curved, as you can kind of see. So I just tried to use the point of that curve to make my little lines. And I just try to go extremely fine and just a straight down pattern to really get some wood grain looking shenanigans happening. Now it's, you know, it's not like, there's probably better ways to do it. However, this gets this is good enough for my needs, and it looks decent enough that I don't have to worry about it, and it's nice and visually interesting enough to not sweat it anymore. Okay, for the love of... Also, I think there's something moving in under my workshop. I woke up and when I looked at the workshop, there was dirt dug in a tunnel-like formation underneath the workshop, and so now there are either tunnel rats or there's actual ground squirrels under the workshop, and whatever it is, it didn't fall for my rat trap, so I think it might be a bit bigger than a rat, so I am going to have to start camping outside the workshop with a gun. That's unfortunate, but, you know, war is hell. Anyways, I'm highlighting the horns on the plague marines with dark sand right now. I base coated them with German black brown, and then I did a mid highlight color of tan earth, and I am now applying a final highlight color on the tips of the horns, utilizing dark sand from Vallejo's color range. Their model color range, to be specific. So, yeah. That's neat. You know, some might say take your meds, schizo. And, you know, some people are just smart like that to say something like that. But, you know, not my job. My job is not my medication. You're hiding under the shed? Okay, well, now that I know it's you, I won't camp out with a shotgun because you're chill. You're chill. You guys are chill enough. I'll allow it for now. Oh, is that why Mossy had to leave? Is he trying to get under with you? That would explain a whole lot, because he's like, I have to go, and I'm like, why? Why, dude? Does he actually have a life? Does he have something more important than a random niche Warhammer painter streamer? This is how can I recover from this? The betrayal is nuts. Yes, fair enough. Well, as long as you're both comfortable under there. I mean, it's slightly raised off the ground. I didn't know it could fit an actual human, though, but I guess Americans are bigger than Europeans or something like that. I forget the exact lore. I didn't read the novel. Now, that's all applied there, and I'll put a little more on the edge here. And now that's this guy. Done and dusted. Bada bing, bada boom. We're getting some progress done. I'm actually quite pleased with the amount of progress we are making. Mossy needs to earn the money to save his fam. Oh, is that what is that? And he's gonna do that by hanging out under the workshop. Could I ask for could I use my phone a friend and ask for a hint onto how the heck that's supposed to work out? If I may use my phone a friend, that is. Then I would like that very much. But, you know, only if I'm allowed, which I really hope I am, because yeah, this would be my preferred way to utilize that, you know what I mean? Okay, now, okay, there's that. We're speed running. We're going pretty quickly on this whole thing. The highlighting, so much more fun than the base coating. My goodness. You know, I used to first we mine, then we craft. Wait, what? You're gonna Minecraft? I don't know. Isn't that a bit of a suspicious thing to do in Germany? You Minecraft? I don't know, but I'm not from Germany. I haven't been to Germany. I haven't been over to Europe. It scares me. I've been to Mexico, but Europe scares me more than Mexico. Because, you know, in Mexico, the only thing that'll happen to you is you just get kidnapped by a cartel or something. But in Europe, you could get stabbed. That's scary. So it's, you know, it's kind of a pick your poison sort of vibe. Although if we're being completely fair, might be worth the risk to get some British fish and chips. That's what I've heard, at least, is actual in Britain fish and chips. That's what I heard. I know that was one of the key selling factors when I went to Canada way back in the day, because they had like a whole British area that we were in, and their fish and chips were on a different plane of existence. So I would be inclined to see what actual fish and chips in Britannia would be like. And then also, you know what I'd also want to try? I would want to try German sauerkraut. I think that's fair. Or a bratwurst. A Wiener Schnitzel. Or do you say Wiener Schnitzel? I gotta brush up on my German. I only know the only German I know are from video games, where the German will say a random voice line like you know, fight as a Fluttoy Jones. Now I don't know if I botched that saying or not, but that's just what I've heard when I look at a plane and press Q in Battlefield 1. My character says that. And then you know, Octoon Panzer. I think that just means like, watch out, there's a tank, you're about to get shot, essentially, to really dumb it down. But I don't know. That's why I would have to go to Germany to learn German, because that's how that works. You don't learn it beforehand. No, you go there and then you learn it while you're there. No prep work. Boring. You just go. And you hope for the best. Right? Now, let's see. I think this guy might be set. Oh, no, he's not. Not quite. Let me line this. There we go. Now that's all lined there. And that is lined there. Okay. Now we have a handle. That's good. And I think with that, everyone is highlighted. Yes, everyone is highlighted. So now I'm going to glue the scythe back on real quick because it keeps snapping off. Let me take our leader here, and then his broken scythe, RIP. Take a little Tamiya extra thin cement, and let's fix this guy up. Good and proper. Starstone, random news blurbs. Like, why, bro? I don't need them anymore. Now that's lined up there. I'm going to line this guy up here. Get that plastic to just melt a little bit. And then once that's all nice and melted everywhere, now I'll fuse them together, and this will hopefully create the ultimate bond. So who's ready for nothing? This is going to be absolutely insane. Now we put you back on there. And now, in theory, this should be glued back together. And it is not. Hold on. I'll hold it even longer this time. My goodness. Okay, now, in theory, this should be, part 2, this should be glued together. Let's take a look at it. That's, it's not the most straight. I think this thing, oh yeah, look at that. So this thing is bent before it actually snapped. But, I wouldn't expect it to be perfectly straight because this is the Death Guard we're talking about. They look like that. Now, one thing I do need to work on while that glue dries, before I paint the rest of the brass details on that, and one thing I completely forgot to do, I got to paint their shoulder armor here green, because that's the color scheme I go for. It's a traditional Death Guard color scheme. I am going to break my PC. I got to get wireless headphones at some point because I keep getting my foot caught on them, and it's getting... I'm gonna break something at some point. Don't need to do that. That would be bad. So let's see. The green I use Luftwaffe Cam Green, right here. It's a nice green. It's good and it's dark. So let me put a little piece of that right down here. Don't tell me the nozzle clogged on me. Hold on. Wow, it did. Fine. Okay, we'll have to do a little extraction protocol. But that's nothing we can't handle. Here goes nothing. Well, that was straightforward. Cool. Now, there we go. We got our green. Perfect. Also, the paper is working a lot better than the paper that wasn't designed for this whole bit of business. So that's fun. And very useful, ultimately. Now, I only do the top portion of the shoulder pauldrons here. That is really all we need. Because also when I was looking at reference images, they didn't paint the bottoms. It was just the tops here. And honestly, I don't want to go too thick because we don't want to obscure any more details. The primer did that enough. I primed these guys with a spray primer a couple years ago, and I was a little thick on it. Little thick. But now I'm a lot better with my primer, but I can't really afford to go heavier on some layers anymore. Because we've already went heavy with the very first layer. And this green is covering nicely. Might have to do a second coat if this doesn't kind of solidify nicely, but, that's okay. Usually I like a paint that does a one coat and you're done. But that's kind of impatient. That's the impatient me talking. Really, we just need a paint that will get anything done, really. And that looks good. There. Hit the bottom rim here real quick. There. And now, there we go. We're starting to establish some color on these guys. This is fun. And then this guy doesn't have any mutation, so I can go nice and thick on here. Because it's just got craters and bubbles, and geez, what in the world is happening here? There's all kinds of... I really do like the sculpts, because the amount of detail... There's a lot of detail, but when you start to just include a couple core colors for your crazy details and crazy undulations, it gets really fun, because then you just start picking out details and just going hog wild with your specific colors. Like their tubes, I do a nice flesh color. I have a flesh and a magenta mix that I use. I also have a red color that almost looks like just blood. It's a very gory color, but it's very fun. And then the faces, I just do all kinds of different colors for blending in. Now there's one set of shoulder pads. Oh, hold on, this didn't cover. Okay, now officially, here's one set of shoulder pads done and dusted, good and goated. Now we can move on to the next. Now, this guy will be fairly straightforward, but I do want to try to avoid the horns that we've already painted here. So let me just go on and do that, but try to avoid any crazy overbrushing onto the actual horns. And where this is going fine. It's going swimmingly, some might say. Now I just gotta lock the heck in. There we go. And again, lock in. Okay. Okay, this isn't going too terrible. This is fine. It's going good. It's going good. Now we can do a bit of that. Do a bit of this. Now we got to thread the needle here. There's not a lot of spacing between these guys, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Careful on the top. Nice. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay, now we're kind of out of that whole sketchy neck of the woods there. And let's just go from the front, and now we'll be able to tackle this no problem. There's that. I got a little on the cloth, but that's okay because the cloth will be painted at some point anyways. So it all works out okay. And there's that. Good. And then just hit the final edge of that. There we go. All right, there's one shoulder pad on our second guy. Done. Done and dusted. Now, usually as far as the cloth goes, I usually base coat it Luftwaffe Cam Green as well, and then highlight it with various greens. But I'm wondering if I want to do maybe a fancy color for these guys here. Maybe a reddish color, perhaps. Might be fun to do, but we'll think about it. Oh, wow. And then speaking of crazy details, now we have... Now I have to avoid hitting the little Triforce of Nurgle that they have on, that this guy has on his shoulder pad here. This is going to be an event, but you know, we'll be able to figure it out. This will be fine. There's that. Looks good. I have to now hit a... We now have to go in between this Triforce right now. This is actually insane. Hold on. Okay, there we go. And there's that. Looking good. Good as gold there. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Nice. Let's just hit the edge of that real quick. I kind of got to lock in. I don't really want to mess anything up here because tidying up the white hit the spot. Shush. You saw nothing. Nothing happened. Nope. I nailed everything. I'm on fire here. Look at that. See, absolutely nailed it. Did I really miss that? No. Okay. See? Look, that's totally adequate. The only reason that the bottom left there looks different is because it's literally not there. It's literally chipped away. That's why it's gone. Trust me, don't question it. One more. This is where this is going to be the challenging one here, because if you look closely, this dude we have actual squares that we need to fill in. So this is going to be something. I'm going to do the squares last. I'll warm up, get the rest of this Yahoo's armor done and dusted real quickly there. Beautiful. Beaut. It's a beaut in it. Now, looky there. Now this guy's fairly simple to do so far. We haven't approached the deadly zone yet. The crazy part. It's about to get a little nuts. In just a moment. Okay. Now the other side, we just have to avoid a horn. That's going to be a bit of a task. However, it should be fairly doable. Also, there's a bit of brass that I did miss on this guy's shoulder pad that I'll have to just come back with. I'm coming back with brass on this guy anyways, so that will be fine. Now, there's like no brass over here anymore, interestingly enough. I guess the brass just disappeared. That's totally fine. Now, let me just try to avoid this spike here, which I'm doing successfully so far. And there we go. Okay. Now we got to fill in some spots. We gotta hit those spots right there on the inside of this brass here. So here goes nothing. I'm gonna try to get a bit of a finer tip out of my brush. But now let's see what we can do here. I'm sure this will go fine. We just got to be patient, right? And patience is a virtue. There's one. Good. Number 2 will be difficult because it is right underneath a horn. Just got to slowly go around it. 2. Perfect. Perfect execution. No crazy overspill just yet. I loaded up extra paint. Now I'm going in gently here. I have to continue low because I don't want to hit the spike. This is okay. Okay. 3. Now we have a super tiny spot here. I should just be able to just put the brush in there and then wiggle it around in place, and that'll get the paint everywhere, which it did. Okay. 4. That's all good. I'm going to leave that all there. Now it's time for the other side. The other side, this is going to be a challenge because we have a whole spike. We'll hit this first one here. Just, oh, that's a terrible time for a water droplet to come on, so hold on, restart. There we go. I had to pull out the last second, but it's okay. I am also breaking the scythe again. Oh my gosh. There's 1. Okay. Nobody panic. The scythe, I just need to drill up, and I need to pin that son of a gun. My gosh. Don't let that mess with the flow. Hold on. Stay strong. Stay strong. Okay. 2. That's 2. And now 3 is right in here. This is going to be fine. I just know it. Dang it, I hit part of the horn. Hold on. If I'm quick enough, I can wipe it off real quick. No, they're still green. Oh my gosh, dude. Nobody panic. Nobody panic. This is fine. This is fine. A-okay. A-okay. Gotta just wipe off excess with water, and now just move it around. For the love of water. Well, we kind of botched that horn there. That's okay. It's a little green, didn't hurt nobody, and a little extra water should make everything just fine and dandy. There we go. Okay, we were eventually able to kind of erase our mistake. Now no one will notice what the heck happened. I continue to break the scythe. Oh my gosh. Just squish you in there. Just like squish so hard that there's no way you'll come off. It's coming off. Okay. Fine. I'll re-lube up with some Tamiya extra thin cement. And hopefully that will fix the entire thing. Then let me actually put a dot at the second connector point, which I did not notice firsthand. Okay. That's how fragile that was. A single brush just annihilated it. Now hold on. Let me put it back together. I will put you back together. Reference. And now we just hold it here until it is dry. Now I know this is some of the most riveting content, you know, that you could possibly find on YouTube, but this is where we are at right now. We got to accept that for just a little bit. Now the glue should be dry enough for me to let go, so I'm now going to gently let go of it. And hopefully it will stay there. Now that already feels a lot more solid. I kind of crushed that sucker into place. And you can kind of see that gray bleed out. That is the plastic that I just oozed out of the actual model. So hopefully that will give us some more stability as we go along painting this thing. But now it is time to actually finish off some of these brass details, because right here, you can see this is brass, this is a bright metallic, this is not. We need to get that to this right now. And it is going to happen. Reference? I was referencing something. I don't remember what. And the color I will be using is bright bronze. That's what I use for the brass. I use bronze for brass. Make sense? There you go. Now we gotta, you know, we're introducing metallic to the palette. Also, the it doesn't come out the nozzle because the lid is a bit broken. So what I simply do is I jiggle out the actual nozzle like so. And then I take the paint and then I just simply dab it on. I just rest the nozzle on there. And then when I go to pull it away and do a little jiggling motion to get all the stuff in the nozzle out, we're left with paint on the palette. So, you know, if you have an absolutely destroyed Vallejo bottle, you can just do that. And it's simple. No issues at all. Now then, let's see. Okay. Let's paint up the rest of the handle real quick. Yeah, I don't know what I was referencing. I'll have to figure that out at some point. Okay, and now, and thankfully, and the brass paint is still very nice, even if it didn't come out of the nozzle. Even if the nozzle paint is dry, that doesn't mean that all this is bad. No, this is still good. This still works wonders. If anything, you could say this is a FNAF. Oh, yeah, I said I will put you back together. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's a reference after in FNAF 4 when the crying child gets bit, and then there's the voice, and then there's the Golden Freddy plush talking to him, and then it says, "I will put you back together." That's what I'm referencing. I'll put you back. Exactly right. There you go. Gotta sprinkle in my absurd FNAF knowledge in somewhere, right? That's you know, there's many spots. You know, the human mind can understand a lot. You could put it towards remembering frickin' math equations. You could learn medical stuff from medical school. Or you do none of that. And you just rewatch game theory videos and FNAF videos on the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. Both are equally fun in their own way. So that's why I chose to be a FNAF. I'm just excited because in the future, hopefully, FNAF will actually be a major you can partake in universities. That is when I will think we were. I said solid. That's usually a Metal Gear reference. Fair enough. I wasn't aware. I guess I gotta read up on that or watch it. I don't know what Metal Gear is. I don't know that ball. I know it's crazy. But I know the FNAF, I know the Five Nights at Freddy's lore fairly decently. It's, you know, but everywhere you go, there you are. Now what? Now our brass is almost completely brassed here. And that's good. Play it on stream? Oh, fair enough. It's a game. Then yeah, maybe I will play it. How about that? That might be a fun gaming stream at some point. Once we absolutely kick ass in Lego City Undercover. Great game, by the way. For anyone who hasn't played it yet. You so should. Okay, and then we got some brass at the ends of this guy's scythe here. Which, honestly, very cool weapon. I actually really like this weapon. Then explain Freddy's fastballs, please, if you know it that well. Well, first off, it's like, where do you even begin with the lore of FNAF Freddy 5 Bears? You know what I mean? There's so much to cover. But, you know, you have... A lot of it's speculation, a lot of it's fan-made, a lot of it is us just digging in the dirt for literally anything and finding something and running with it. That's why I'm into it. Okay? Have I formed any opinions? I do have a theory. I do have a theory that I haven't seen mentioned, and I'm one because in the FNAF lore, you see, right? In some of the mini games, you have what we think is William Afton come back home. Someone's sitting in a chair, and they say, "Please go easy on him tonight. He had a long day," and we assume that's Michael Afton. Was I at the Tacoma Open? Don't think I was at the Tacoma Open. But actually, okay, hold on. Let me just pull up exactly what I'm talking about here. As far as the Michael, I forget what I forget the title of the mini game. I don't know that. I don't know ball. But let me go. Let me find it real quick. Real quick. I'm gonna go on this rabbit hole real quick because I do have an interesting theory. Because in the FNAF lore, we rarely see the Afton family's mom. And when I say rarely, I mean I don't think we ever see her. Let me go to the monitor. Ignore Frank Honey over here. That's Frank Honey. And ignore the Lego head. So hold on. Was it later that night? No, it wasn't the later that night. It might have been. Hold on. Later that night minigame FNAF. What is the point of later that night? Oh my god, I nailed it. I actually did remember it. Okay, so this is it. This is it. Let's see. Is this the secret Easter egg minigame? We'll watch it real quick. Hold on. Stand by. Stand by. Now, hold on. Yeah, you do go through the motors, and then you let it. You can turn this down. Hold on. So we just drive down the street. We go home. Okay, now hold on. We go in. See, and now we got someone watching TV here. Look. Leave him alone tonight. He had a rough day. Now, I remember that I argued 3 hours with a friend because I don't believe that Plush Trap isn't Springtrap. You don't believe that Plush Trap isn't Springtrap. Plush Trap is just a plush of Springtrap, right? That's what I thought it was. But okay, so now generally it's believed that this is Michael Afton. That this is the crying child's brother who eventually throws him and gets him eaten by Fredbear, by Golden Freddy, okay? Now, my theory, just spitballing here, is that because I think there was another argument that what if this guy is William Afton, and what if whoever this was saying go easy on him was saying go easy on Michael Afton? What if this was after the crying child was dead, this guy and William Afton is drinking himself to sleep, blah, 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 blah. Now, my theory is this is William Afton's wife, and because we don't see her like anywhere in the game, I'm almost inclined to think, is she bald? Does she have cancer? Did she have some illness that eventually led to her death? So, but that's my theory, a game theory, if you would, is that this here is the wife of William Afton in the FNAF lore, and that she had an illness and maybe later died sometime after the crying child was killed. Maybe that was the final tipping point before she passed away. But I don't know. I don't know, because the other thing to consider, if I had to dock on my own theory, sister location we think came before, because in FNAF 4 the crying child can go into a little girl's room and there is no little girl there, and William's daughter Elizabeth was scooped by Baby, and Ballora was made, we think, in William Afton's wife's image, or kind of based to be around her roughly. And so that wouldn't make sense. Wouldn't make sense, this being the wife here, because by this point, the daughter would have been dead. And when Ballora existed, we think that she was, William Afton made Ballora after his wife left him. So maybe the wife just completely vanished from the picture. So maybe this is Michael Afton after all. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? So if I had to dock on my own theory of this being a severely ill William Afton wife, that would be what I'd say there. But there's a billion different timelines. The other thing is Michael Afton watches TV. We play as Michael in sister location. We come home and we watch TV. Is that what we're doing here? Does he still watch TV after all of these years? Or was this, because the other thing I'm wondering, it's kind of hard to tell because it's all 8-bit, but it's like, this is like a gray shirt. This looks like legs, but that's an awfully slumped over pose. So it's kind of like a very slumped over, and then the legs are like way out here. I'm almost wondering, is that a blanket? Because of the illness. The wife is wrapped up in a blanket. I don't know. Now that's my, I think that should be enough theorizing from a dumbass like myself for the day. I'll go back to painting, which is what this stream is. But that's how stupidly seriously and I take this. But it's fun. But it's enjoyable to theorize on the entire thing. But there's my rant there. I will rant about Lee Enfields and I will rant about the FNAF lore. It is a gamble every time. But here's what I'm working on. I'm painting a toy soldier, if you would, right here. And so right now I got to do some more brass details somewhere. I think I got to do a little cleanup here, and we'll see what happens with that. Also, the paint is starting to dry out. Please don't. I would prefer it if it didn't. But does that make sense? I'm gonna quiz you later on this whole thing, and you better turn in a straight A score. I gotta. One day it might be fun for me to just, on my own time, make a list of the lore and actually try to do something myself rather than just watching the videos on it. But that was like my rough theory on it. My vomited notes from one day of thinking about it for 5 seconds on my own without watching a video, and imprinting the opinions of the video onto myself. So there you go. The Sherlock Spiner FNAF lore video will return in Avengers Doomsday. Now, that's all good there. I think this guy's all brassed up. Nice, nice. And now let us see if there's any more brass details that are needed, which there are down here. Real quick, we need this guy to have a little more brass right over here, and then we'll be good. But yeah, see, Nisty, I would be curious, I want a video essay, or I want an essay, because you say you remember that you argued 3 hours with a friend because you don't believe that plush trap isn't Springtrap. Could you break that down, what you mean by that for me? Because if you're saying, like, are you saying your friend thought plush trap and Springtrap were the same person? That's, because if so, then I could, like, I think they're different. I think they're different entities or whatever. That's, but that's just, it was like 5 years ago. Fair enough. So yeah, you might not have the complete up-to-date details on the whole thing, but yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Geez, wasn't 5 years ago like Five Nights at Freddy? What was it, like Security Breach? Didn't that come out 5 years ago? I don't remember. I should look it up. I have access to a computer. That's crazy. Oh, right. More brass is needed here. I completely forgot about all of this juicy brass detail right here. Absolutely crazy, dude. What you should do, Sinistia, is invite your friend over, and then we're gonna have a live debate with him. I think that would be fun. And we'll see what they we'll see how they can. We'll see if they stand behind their words from 5 years ago. Right? And then we didn't know about the music / mimic discs and the gas. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that is interesting, because I'm wondering, like, we play the mini games at night. Who are we playing as? Are we playing as Michael Afton, a random person, or the crying child? Because yeah, eventually we discover that there's. I don't talk to that friend anymore. He is dead to me. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, everywhere you go, there you are, I suppose. I won't pry into it anymore. But yeah, the whole music disc thing was such a curveball, bro. In the, at least in my my experience with the lore, it's like, what? Now we can the FNAF lore has changed so much over the years. It is kind of crazy, kind of impressive how really, on the surface, it's changed so much, but it's still very popular. And it continued to gain popularity as the series went on, which I always thought was very impressive. Brave Vet, hello, welcome. Because, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's started off as the very first game, animatronics who are possessed by kids we think are trying to get us in our office. And then FNAF 2, I can't remember if the video games was the purple guy. I think he was introduced in FNAF 2, if I remember correctly. And then we're like, oh, there's a killer. Ooh, fair enough. And then FNAF 3, it's like, oh, and then the killer was trapped in one of the animatronics himself. Or what? If that was the FNAF 3. I haven't played FNAF 3. Played 1 and 2. I was thinking of doing 3 on stream. That's why I haven't played it just yet. And then 4, it was like, this is supposed to be the end of the story, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, we have like the first kill, or we have the crying child. Was that the Bite of 87? You know, the famous Markiplier quote. I have it here.
Was that the Bite of 87?
I have that on hand for some reason. I'm glad that I eventually put that in. But then Sister Location came out, and everyone went, what? What happened? What? And we were all confused, and but it was still intriguing. It was still intriguing how the entire thing worked. And then we're like, is this the future? What is going on? And then we got FNAF 6, which was, I believe, Pizzeria Simulator, I want to say. If that's the timeline. I haven't broken down the FNAF game timeline in years, so don't mind me. But yeah, then we got that. And that was crazy. And the way that ended felt like it was the actual end of an era there. Because, I mean, we literally, everyone was there. It was the Super Smash Bros. of everything. We got frickin'... We had Circus Baby, we had we had Lefty. Yeah, we had Scrap Baby, and then we had Molten Freddy, who was entered. Sorry, I gotta get my thoughts together. Can't get any of this stuff wrong, or I don't know what I'm doing. Death Guard is a hard armor to kill because of the Terminators. I had to kill them with Calgar, plus Terminators and Aggressors, and Desolation Squad crack to kill 2 squads of Terminators. Well, cool. I'm glad I'm getting these guys painted up. It sounds like they're going to be fairly useful for my endeavors. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to play Death Guard once I eventually get once I get enough points to actually play an actual game with them eventually. Right now, I main Astra Militarum, or the Imperial Guard, and I haven't played anything else. And I have like almost 10... I have, including everything that I have specifically for my Astra Militarum, I have over 10,000 fully painted points for that thing. But that also includes a Warlord Titan. But yeah, Death Guard I'm excited to play. Because rather than Imperial Guard, where I just have a bunch of tanks and then tons of infantry, I can just have medium units like these guys just slowly moving across the field, doing all kinds of shenanigans and stuff. I'm excited. It's gonna be fun, I think. Oh my gosh, I still need more metal here. I completely forgot about this guy. There we go. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Nice. And then what really, you know what really threw a wrench into the entire freaking FNAF lore plan? I think that was Security Breach. That was, at least for me, that rocked my world. That was the craziest thing to witness. What do I think about Plunging Fire? I have no thoughts on Plunging Fire. I haven't actually delved into 11th edition just yet. Although I know it's now like starting and people are playing their first tournaments and stuff and getting going. I haven't gotten out to play any of it yet. I've been busy. But busy with streaming and starting up the YouTube channel. But while I'm waiting to get started on it, I figured I could stream and start painting some of these guys and at least be ready with painted models to start to learn it. But yeah, I still gotta buy the rule book. Security breaches in my type of game. Yeah, kind of. It started to branch off what FNAF was in that whole thing. I still enjoyed it because it had the FNAF brand on it, and so anything with that brand, then I would just absolutely soak up. But yeah, it was that's when it kind of left. It left the traditional thing of what it was. Looked fun, but not as a FNAF game. Yeah, they're definitely the new game. It's a new era, and honestly, what's cool is, you know, people can pick and choose when to leave or when to stay or when to lose interest or when to, you know, first get into something. And I'll always watch people play the FNAF games because I do like the lore and the ever-arcing hodgepodge of whatever the heck happens at the time, because the lore gets too tangled. Yeah, exactly. It gets a little nuts sometimes, and that's before adding the books. That is before adding all of the books. Then that gets a little crazy. Good thing to know. Use units that have the heavy keyword and let them get Plunging Fire absolutely terrifying if their weapons are powerful. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate that. That will be fun. Yeah, I gotta get the codex, gotta get the main rules. I gotta get into it. So gotta get into it. 11th edition is when I'm gonna start to make my comeback, slowly but surely. 10th edition, I played a couple rounds in the beginning, and then didn't really play it at all. I was mostly painting and working on other stuff. But now 11th edition, I want to start to get into it eventually. Now, hold on. Why did I change? No, we still want to be painting. What am I doing? There we go. Yeah, what messed me up with the Mimic is it's like it takes place before Fazbear Incorporated or whatever the heck it was called was a thing. And so now we're like learning that it's not... And hold on, who the heck was the name of the main character that... Now, was it Henry? We were playing as a random dude in The Secret of the Mimic. Oh, it was Murray? It was Murray's Costume Manor. So was his name Henry Murray? Eddie Murray? Eddie Murphy? It was something like that. And then it just got all freaking crazy. Because then it's like, okay, so now we have literal AI mimics in like, what, the 60s or 70s? That's kind of crazy. Oh, book fun fact, Horus Heresy. Horus gassed a whole planet with his people on it. Now, that's an interesting thing to read out of context, being that I haven't read the books just yet. Would you care to elaborate? Because you strike my curiosity, if I may be so bold. That's definitely a fascinating thing to hear about. Well, let's see. These guys are all done. Their brass details are essentially done, and we have scythes all done as well. Okay, so we're doing it. We're getting it done slowly but surely. So next up would probably be starting on some of the tube details, or maybe even the weapons. Okay, so let's see. 10 minutes left. We'll be able to make something happen, perhaps. Question is, what do we want to make happen? I think I'm going to try to quickly paint all of the leather straps around here. Now, how did I do that? Let me just go. Let me consult something real quick. Let me consult my reference model. Okay, I know how I did that now. I took a magical color, I think. Did I just take this? I might have. Oh, I took this. Hold on. I took a dark rust color is what I did. So I'm just taking some dark rust from Vallejo, and I am going to thin that down a little bit with water, just so we can get a nice smooth application, like that. Now, on our cloths here, quickly just give everything a base coat. Don't need it to be completely solid. It's okay if it's a little transparent. Kind of adds to the details and the texture of the entire thing. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Because with all this texture, what we get to do is a little something called dry brush. And so that will be fun, because I enjoy myself some dry brushing. I got a specific way to do it, too. So there was a faction, and Horus wanted them destroyed, so he let his men attack only those he didn't need for the heresy, and gas both. Even the Emperor wouldn't use bioweapons. Geez, so we have World War I Germany still going strong in the Horus heresy. That is crazy, crazy work. Huh. So they were... Geez, so the Emperor's against... So the Emperor doesn't like biological... Or he doesn't like chemical warfare. And he doesn't like artificial intelligence. Wow. Fair enough. Didn't know the Emperor was chill like that. Although, actually, I'm gonna shut the hell up. Don't the although was a bad thing to say. I'm gonna stop right there before I continue. That was kind of funny. Now let us do that. The gas can pass through Space Marine armor. Oh well, that's terrifying. Jeez, really? A gas that can go through a literal Space Marine's armor. That's not the most optimal thing if you're a Space Marine. I can imagine. I would assume it melts all biomass. Golly. Okay, jeez. Okay, so that's more chemical warfare than I'm used to, if I'm being dead honest. That's not what I was expecting. That's pretty crazy, not gonna lie. Huh. Now I have to try to get in between this guy's freaking stomach and not paint it, which surprisingly I did. Just got to do the underside. Again, I did it. Wow. So the good stuff. There you go. Fair enough. And now this guy's string here. Get that good as gold there. That was a little thick. That wasn't as thin down, but, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Oh my gosh, I haven't told this on stream yet, but I have to. When I was painting I might have told it on stream. I don't remember. I don't think I did. When I was painting my chainsword up a while ago, I had to go into a hardware store because I was looking for filler primer because it was a 3D printed sword. And you need to fill in the layer lines, sand it, and then fill it in, sand it, right? I go in there. I can't find the filler primer. I've checked the spray paint. I've been to that store a billion times, literally just for different spray paint, so I know where I'm looking. I'm not stupid. Also, I'm trying to make painting my profession, okay? I know what I'm doing. At least a little bit. Okay? I go to ask an associate, some college student, okay? So she's not going to know nothing. So I say, hey, do you have filler primer? And without even hesitating, she doesn't even say, filler primer or, She just immediately turns around, turns her back to me, and then takes 2 steps to the Karen who was working and said, hey, this dude's got a question. And I go, wow, my generation is really doing themselves justice. Ad? Of course there's an ad, bro. They upset me with these ads. Well, hopefully the ad's done, and then I'll get back to my rant. And I'll get back to it. And I'll just yip and yap. But without skipping a beat, she turns around and she asks the Karen that she says, hey, this dude has a question. So she comes up to me. This Karen comes up and she says, what are you looking for? I'm like, do you have automotive filler primer? Because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for filler primer. And she says, filler primer. Like, you know when someone says something back to you and you're like, oh, they have no idea what I'm talking about? So I'm like, yeah, do you have filler primer? She's like, filler primer. And then she's like, so what do you use that for? What do you use that for? And I tell her, what do you use it for? And I say, well, it's a primer that you spray and it fills in gaps. It goes on thickly. That's a filler primer. Which makes sense to me. I'll ask you, does it make sense to you that that's what a filler primer does? It does to me, but I could be nuts. Wouldn't put it past myself to be completely a whack job. But I thought filler primer would fill things in. You apply it a little thickly, and it fills in. Well, she says to me, she looks me dead in the eyes, like I'm a dumbass kid, okay? And she says, oh, well, but it is basically normal spray paint. I found after I've used it, I feel like I can actually apply it thickly, and it dries thickly. Other spray paint can sometimes feel. Other paints can go on thickly, but they tend to streak a bit more, or beat up, I find at least. The filler primer, I could apply very thickly, and it was smooth everywhere. But it is basically normal spray paint, how I describe it, how you describe it. Essentially, but yeah, to describe it in more detail, what it is I can spray it on thicker, and where a real spray paint would start to, seep down because it's way too thick, this stuff doesn't. Essentially. But she says to me, after I describe filler primer, she says, oh, no, is what she says to me. She says, no. She says, when you spray paint something, what you should do is you do very thin and small applications over it. And you can always add more layers later. Now, for traditional spray paint, yes. But this is filler primer. Filler primer. I just described filler primer. And she says to me, she says, this is the fuck you mean no? And she says this, and after she said this, I kind of mentally checked out of the conversation and I went into abort the mission mode. Is she said, so essentially what she said was, oh no, you want, when you go to spray paint something, you got to spray it from far away and you got to do very thin coats and you can always build up layers later, but you have to be patient. Basically, this stranger just called me an impatient freaking prune. Essentially, she just did it in softer language. Okay, and so at the patience thing got me. That irked me. That made me a little upset. Okay, that got under my skin. It shouldn't have, but it did. And so then I immediately go, okay, the answers are not. I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for here, Obi-Wan Kenobi style. And I go, okay, I need to get out of here. They don't have filler primer, and I'm being yapped about on how to paint. Boy, with all due respect, I've painted a Warlord Titan. With all due respect. And I am gonna flex on that. I'm gonna use that, and I'm gonna ride my high horse and be braggadocious. Okay, but she says that. Okay? And then she says to me, and I know a thing or two about paint. I did research for the chainsword. And she walks me over to the primer section, and that's the sound of the footsteps of us walking, and she grabs a standard can of spray primer, of Rust-Oleum black primer, and she says, this would be a lot, this is what you would want right here. This stuff will work wonders. Now, I have about 5 cans of that at home literally right behind me already. Because yes, I used the primer. I'm just not looking for normal primer. I'm looking for filler primer, okay? And and so I'm like, I mean, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, okay. And then we move to another filler, a brush applicant not even a filler. It's just a brush primer. She's like, maybe this will, and I'm just like, huh? No. And so eventually what I say is we get back to the primer and she points it out again. I say, you know what? I'm going to take, I'd say, you know what? I think I'm going to take this primer. I think this will work perfectly for my needs. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day. And she says, yeah, no problem. And then she goes about her bit. Oh my God. Before that, holy crap. I did get my dig back in. I did get a dig back in. I was a bit of a snarky son of a bitch. Okay. I'll admit it. But then, and then she said to me while she's talking about the brush on primer. She's like, and what is this for again? And I said, I need filler primer because I need to fill in layer lines on a 3D print. Because you gotta spray in the filler primer, then you gotta sand it, then you gotta fill it, then you gotta sand it again. And I said, you know, stuff that takes a lot of patience. So I got my jab back in there, okay? I'm petty, I'll admit it. But then later, I'm like, okay, I gotta abort the mission. I got my lick in. I feel good about myself now for being a petty little freaking goober. And I say, okay, this will work out perfect for me. Thank you so much. You have a good rest of your day. Goodbye now. She says goodbye. She leaves. The moment she's out of sight, I turn on my heel and I leave the store without buying anything. And then I go 15 minutes south to a store that did have filler primer. And I found it. And so I bought 2 cans of it. And I went on to make the chainsword, which was successful. But it was just funny because the whole exchange was a funny interaction that I liked it. And now am I harping on too much about it because I'm just a petty son of a gun? Perhaps. Not out of the realm of possibility for sure. It is also time for me to go. So I have to skedaddle now. So there's my rant. There's a little rant. Me on my high horse thinking I'm an expert in painting and blah, blah, blah. And so there's me being a petty fool. Okay, don't be petty. There's the lesson for the stream. See, we all learned something. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you Thursday, hopefully. And, you know, we're making progress. Move on. It is just primer. No, I'm gonna harbor resentment for the rest of my life. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. As a good Warhammer chud should. Thanks for the early stream. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, but yeah, I will skedaddle now. But you all be good. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you in the next one. And until then, good day to you all. And hold on, I can.